Hello everybody and welcome back to EU5 here with the Kingdom of Poland. It is the 6th of April 1351 where we did play a couple of years because I thought it was recording and then the mic just was super quiet for some reason. Hopefully this is better now. I did a little test. It seemed to be better, so hopefully it is better now on this one. So we did kind of see out the most of the end results of the plague. It's still going on here in April 1351, but it is a lot better, right? We are making 8.83 ducats. We're up to 200 a month, or not 200 a month, 200 overall. Stability's at 14. We're up to 900,000 people now. Had been underneath 900,000. We're at 900,004. 69 legitimacy, 35 prestige, negative 0.24 there. 2.35 diplomats, 0 on the war exhaustion. We're gaining manpower back. We do have, last episode was crazy. We had a lot of events, so it makes me a little bit sad that we missed them all. But we do have the legal code of the statutes, which is at 80% of passing. We did pass to increase the nobles' artistic abilities, or artistic rights, which got the Schlachta a little bit happier, though then they disliked some stuff, and so they went back down. So currently they're at 47.3%. But there for a while, they were in rebellion, or getting closer to rebellion. They were getting 2.7 to 2.8% per month because we had passed some reforms, or had tried to pass some reforms, because Casimir, as we have said before, is the peasant king. And so therefore I was trying to improve the lives of the peasants. The Schlachta did not like that, so that really hurt a lot of their, what is it called, the estate satisfaction. We also did move our increasing control up here to positive to try to take advantage of that being the other primary population center that we have. You can see here in terms of RGOs, we are still missing 9,930, and we are missing 1,236 kind of skilled workers, so to speak. Our heir is still underage. Saxe-Wittenberg jewelry is out of market, so we might be able to make a new trade there potentially. We have buildings, pops with needs, not too many, right? All under 1, which is pretty decent. Books is still low. We do have a massive rebel movement, and that's because we essentially said, no, we're going to not give in to Greater Poland, right? They said, hey, there's too much power in Lower Poland, so Greater Poland's trying to rise up against us. Which, you know, is what it is. You can see the Schlachta is gaining 0.2% a month, so at some point they will become happy again. And then, like I said, you know, eventually, the only good news about not being able to show last episode, or not show it, deciding not to show it, right? I could have just put a very quiet episode out, is that, well, one, the time changes, so we'll have a little bit more of a time change. Maybe it'll make the episode a little more interesting. But at the same time, the benefit is that we now are closer to being able to build, because I really tried not to build. Other countries, like Bohemia, is building things. I'm trying not to build because I know we're already missing employees everywhere. So, like, there are a few places that are missing, have employees. So, like here at Tardau, right? We're not short laborers here. But we're short laborers here, short more here. So, I mean, we're still short laborers in almost, even for RGOs, in almost the vast majority of our provinces. So I have not been building much. I might end up building like a road, even though that requires resources, to try to help, institute more control. So in that regard, maybe it worked out. Our second daughter and our eldest daughter, as we are now 40 years old, our character is starting to look a little bit older. We do have a Jewish mistress, which we were given the option of whether or not we wanted to marry her, but the clergy would have freaked out. So our eldest daughter is married to the general of our armies. Our youngest daughter, Kunigunda, is the queen consort of the king of Hungary. And then Władysław Piast is 11, and his younger brother, Sibylwit, is 10. So all of our children survived the plague, which, I mean, if nothing else, that by itself is a blessing, right? We lost 643,000 people in our country died of the plague. I know total deaths. Oh, good Lord, you can see right there, 61.6 million worldwide. 5 million of the the Delavi clergy. 2.6 million people in France. 2.1 in Castile. The Mamluks in Egypt lost 1.7 million. Hungary also basically lost 1.7 million. The Golden Horde lost 1.2. We lost a little bit underneath 750,000 of people. We are currently gaining 851 pops in our last month. So that is something we obviously hope to see continue. Currently, the uprising of Greater Poland is at 150%, and it's gaining 188.6%. You could see 86.8%, 98% of these people are peasants, right? So it's mostly a peasant uprising. Promotions at 14.39%. There's 904,000 people. Well, that's okay. The overall kingdom, right? So I guess never mind. Peasants are 86% of our nation. The rebel movements. I'm trying to see what the makeup of the rebels might be, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that. Okay, here we go. 214,000, 33 locations. Base value for every country, 0.10%. The nobles were going to rise up for a while. They got up to almost 50%, but then we were able to get that taken care of. We are the 37th ranked kingdom in the world as of right, or in Europe anyway. Oh, dear God. Here we go. Here we go. We have a civil war. I was worried about this. We also advanced research. We now have research exotic diplomatic gifts, which gives us the following benefits: improved relations plus 10%. Diplomatic gifts have been a constant since ancient times to convince foreign rulers on a certain matter by emphasizing their high status. Gifts could range from different luxurious items and objects to living animals such as giraffes or elephants. The uprising of Greater Poland are behind creating a civil war in our country. Oh man, I don't think. No, I'm sure there were uprisings in EU4. It's just a little bit different. So we have a new technology we can research. We'll take care of this first. Didn't we already? We've already done that. Didn't we already do universal Christianity? Pretty sure we already did. Late feudal relations, loyalty of subjects plus 10, intensive agriculture. I feel like we've already food production plus 10%. I guess we'll do that. Unraised army levies, religious actions, possible cabinet actions. Of course, he no longer has an action because he was trying to control Posen, and now we are going to try to raise all but those 3 of our levies. I don't know exactly how many men they have. We do know that we have, which is worth a negative 0.71 maintenance cost here with our Royal Army. Good Lord, that sounds loud. Hopefully it's not this loud in the game. We can also call on, I don't know. I don't know if we need to call out the Bohemians. Placita Regium, the Pope has meddled in the affairs of our country for far too long. The authority of the crown shall not bend its knee before the papal seat. The papal bull will only be in effect when our government gives its approval. Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to piss the Pope off. We are trying to annex Rawa, although it's going to take us until 1389. And so now we... Oh, well, of course we lost 234,000 people because that's who lives up there. So the Greater Polish Uprising. Where? Wait, what happened to him? What happened to her husband? Is he part of the uprising? I mean, he wasn't a very good commander, but I kind of like the fact that he was... Where's her spouse? So he's a courtier in the Grand Principality of Halych. So we cannot... He does have 2 children of the House of Luxembourg. Bonnie is my mom's name, who unfortunately passed away a little bit ago. So... Okay, so he left. Interesting, interesting. Then, can I give the king himself command of the army? I don't see him. Huh. Okay. Doesn't look like I could give him command of the army, so we're going to let Prince Oscar is going to come in as the general. It's kind of interesting, the timing of that. Truces will expire in 1352. So we obviously have not greatly increased the technology of our army from the last, episode or so when we were at war with the Teutonic Order. We are desperately trying to raise our levies. We did make it up to 11.5 ducats a month. God, that sucks about this, uprising, although it is kind of cool. Like, this mechanic in this event. So I'm a little bit bitter about it, but at the same time, it's kind of cool. If they don't have much of an army, I'm not going to call in my allies. Now, if they do have an army and they start kicking my butt, then I'm definitely going to call my allies in. About 72 men in Kuvia and Wilun is going to be raised. I mean, if that's all they're raising, then I definitely do not need, the external help. We do have a massive lack of a commander. Those 165 guys. So we are working on moving just a lot of our army into locations, somewhat similar to what we did with the war against the Teutonic Order. To try to unify and consolidate command into two primary armies. And see, cavalry don't really have many archers apparently. So it looks like we'll have about 4,400 men down here. And we'll begin moving the Royal Army of Poland. We're going to have about 3,400 men here. The Cardinals of the Curia have come to a conclusion and now have enacted Christiana Pietas. Casimir will lead the levied army just like he did against the Teutons. We now have the claimed throne Casus Belli on Bohemia and Luxembourg. Just oh, probably because the king died and his brother wants to claim the throne. I don't think we'll be pressing that. God, I love like how the guys look. It's so much more realistic than, and more detailed than, the previous versions. So, not how I expected to, what I expected to be focusing on in this episode. But the Peasant King is definitely having an interesting reign here. His wife died. He ended up having 4 children. I do like how the territory immediately comes back to being part of Poland after the siege. That's kind of cool. We had the Black Death, had the war against the Teutonic Order. His wife dies after having the 4 children. We decide not to be part of the Kingdom of Hungary in terms of the succession plan. They do have a little bit of an army. He's got a bunch of male knights and just regular levies. So we will send his army off to try to intercept the army of Greater Poland. While our Prince Oscar, right? Yep, Prince Oscar Asensky will just continue to try to siege down the greater Polish lands. Battle of Oklowek, we do win. We lost 21 men. They lost 188. So we lost 22 there, and they lost 190. But so we're definitely going to win this war. We're not going to have to call in Bohemia or Hungary, not Austria, sorry. God, I love this game. I do apologize that I play on this slow speed that I do. But it is just... Oh, if I was good at this, it could be one of those YouTube channels where this is what I did for a living. I mean, I miss teaching. Starving provinces. Conan is starving. Well, we're sieging them down, so that actually makes sense. My hope is that once we're able to end this civil war, we'll be able to rebuild the nation, right? We've had a lot of trauma. And ultimately the goal is to rebuild the nation and to try to make it a stronger, more unified, and more prosperous Poland, at the expense of the Teutonic Order, of course, primarily. Potentially sub-Lithuanian lands as well, but civil wars are never civil, they're never nice, they're never short. I mean, wars in general, you could say, also always follow that same pattern, but the king and his 12th army, you know, are going to kind of push up here to the northeastern part, while our royal army is going to push western. We could raise the remaining levies of the lands up here, but I just kind of would seem relatively pointless. So you can see we are up to 722,000 men, or population, not men. God, if we had that many men, that would, I don't even know what we would do with that. We are still making 9.7 ducats, though, so I mean, the economy is starting to get better. Hopefully, Conan is no longer going to be starving. And I'm sure we probably could split up our armies more. Oh, here comes a little army of Greater Poland, 243 men. Man, they're moving kind of fast. Those dudes are scampering. Looks like we're going to catch up to the big Liz, but... And they have 243 men. It's all infantry, and they're all gone. The battlefield medic, it appeals that Prince Oskar Nesensky, General of Królewski Rosco-Polski, gave the battlefield medic trait plus 5% reinforcement speed. The general is known as a battlefield medic. A larger than normal number of soldiers under this leader will be able to recover after battle to reinforce their unit back to strength. I hope the microphone is working loud enough over the music, but God, this music is it's a banger right now to me. Man. Zinin and Pizudri are both starving. Interesting that they are starving. So it is September of 1351. Obviously, if we had called in our allies, the war might be over by now, right? I mean, that's a possibility. Because we'd have, what is this? Senior partner status threatened. Members leave the Union when they no longer have the same ruler or heir in case of a regency. In order to consolidate the Union, every member must have the same integration level as a senior partner. Members with a lower level must have their integration enforced via the Parliament. Junior partners can take over seniority in county or country interaction when they have 125% or more greater power score. No, why? Stability, population scaled by control, high legitimacy, embrace institutions, country rank. Okay, well, yeah, I would say because of the Civil War. I think once we win the Civil War and we're unified again, I think that'll probably change in our favor. We're just going to go to Pazin. What is this little button? Oh, the legend key. Okay. And this one is... Oh. Wait, what? So the king... Okay. Interesting. The king no longer can lead that army. That's kind of interesting. I wonder why that is. So the 12th Army is now leaderless. It's really kind of interesting. Why did he leave the army? Wait. Yeah, Halich, right, is challenging our senior leadership. It's 54 to 52. The Royal Army is here in Pazin, so I mean, again, the Civil War should end. You know, we have 741,000. Well, we might have more than that now that we took those territories. We'll have to wait and see until we get into October. 788,000. So yeah, like, and I mean the good news is the we're gonna have more money in the bank to try to build roads, have new buildings. If we have to bribe people, which I'd rather not do, but if we had to, right? So Gneisenau, okay. Where is this place from then? Okay. I don't see a town, but okay. Strum, maybe? So Gneisenau is going to fall. Still can't put him in command of the army. Cessation of church function. Several members of the Schlacht have come before King Casimir the Piast with a proposal. Desperate for more lands and titles, they look with envy towards the Ditcher Winstow, who own considerable land. They ask that we transfer church land to them in return for a large cash contribution to the Kingdom of Poland's efforts. Of course, in the long term, we would lose out on tax revenues from church lands in return for this short-term boost in revenue. 23 gold, or 23.76 ducats. Yeah, no, the nobles will lose 5% satisfaction, but we gain 7 stability, and the priests gain more opinion of us. I mean, I hate to say it, but like, apparently the nobles are really happy with the Civil War. Interesting. Because they are way happier now than they used to be. So I guess, I mean, I won't call it a good thing, but in that sense, good lord, we're down to 55 now in terms of our status as a nation. We started at like 40. Man. Although I do appreciate the fact that the Civil War is lowering it. I do feel like that's fairly realistic. I really don't know why I can't put the king in command of the army anymore, though. He was, and then they just were like, nope, he's going to leave. Which is fine. I mean, you know, but I don't understand why. He didn't die. He's still alive. He's now 41. His son is 12, so we would still have a regency, but I mean, at least he is now old enough to where the regency would not last a terrible long time. We are up to 807,000 people now, back into the kingdom. Dude, I'm the ruler here. We are much stronger than them. Like, it's the same. Maybe the name will change, but it's the same. It's the same title. And we are missing 5,500 RGOs. I mean, I'm not even sure how many workers. It doesn't say. Give me a number for them. So it is just Posen. That we apparently, and again, sieges are not our friend. We discovered that during the war against the Teutonic Order. Although we do have a breach. We have 1 month of food capacity. And we also have 1 month of food capacity there as well. So we'll go to 1352. We'll end the Civil War. Look at buildings, maybe see if like the advent of a little bit of stability and overall happiness by a lot of the estates, what that does for us. We could have 2,000 more men if we wanted to. I feel like that's too much. Like we don't need the men. We've kind of defeated their small little army that they had. So we don't need any more men. We just need to take Posen. Like, literally, that is all we need to do. But we will send the leaderless 12th Army over to Grazisk. Oh, I love this. Like, the little barricade there. We'll take a look also at the economy and what we need in terms of goods. 840,000 people, so we got more people. Again, like the war is very definitely not going in their favor. 113 opinion in Plock, which is here. We are trying to improve our opinion in all of our territories, well, with the exception of Rawa, which we are still working on annexing. We are ranked as the 55th power in the world. I do feel like a lot of, and we're down to 8.88 ducats monthly. I do feel like a lot of that is because of the Civil War. So I feel like once we're able to end the Civil War, or the rebellion, it's really not been much of a war, I think we'll be in a much better position moving forward. And again, we're just going to have our leaderless army here of 3,500 men. Defenders have deserted in Poznan, and we're just going to try to take little pieces of the territory offsets. Apparently, again, sieges, just we suck at. Which is fair, right? I mean, I think the Black Death is essentially over for us. Historically, in Europe, most places in Europe is somewhere between 1352 and 53, I think, is when it kind of let up. So we'll have to see, you know, how accurate that is here in the game. I could play this game 24/7. I really could. I do try to play other games too, not necessarily on the channel, though some of them may be coming out onto the channel as well. I just mean in terms of, you know, my own personal enjoyment, but I really could play this game forever. Like, I'm not positive starving. Well, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Like, we're occupied other parts of the province. They're besieged. I mean, sadly, it makes sense as to why they're starving. But the people of Greater Poland tried to rise up against me, and they paid the price. Is Hungary at war with Serbia? That is something that I do think will change in time, is like the way the levy. Another one bites the dust. Rich men trust not in wealth, gold cannot buy you health. Physic himself must fade, all things are to end are made. The plague full swift goes by, I am sick, I must die. Emil Skarbimir dies. He was lesser Polish, he was Catholic. Oh, he was one of my council members. Lord have mercy on us. He was a cabinet minister of the Kingdom of Poland. He died from a fever. Well. But what I was going to say was, like, the colors are different, but I think, like, eventually they'll, you know, the way the different units look on the map, you know, they'll have different, you know, army models for the different culture groups or whatever in time, I'm sure. So we now can, let's see, he was a cabinet minister, so the higher the military score, the better. Don't really have anybody with a strong military score. That's unfortunate. He's a member of the Shenkiski dynasty. He's lesser Polish. He is Catholic. Okay, so because he's leading the army, he cannot be a cabinet minister. Interesting. Okay. Interesting, but okay. So we are here in January of 1352. Again, our armies are now starving, right? We were running out of food in our armies. That's not good. Of course, if we could... Hey, we finally did it. I was just going to say, if we could finally take Posen. The first Golden Shagatai War. No, we're not going to intervene in that. Disband all levies. You can see we're suffering attrition, 1% each month. Maximum of 12%. Manpower is wintertime. I'm trying to see... Again, we want to disband all levies. No, we want to disband... Like, disband you. I said disband all levies. Okay, so we did have to... Okay, so they were locked into their movement. Okay, okay. Nashensky... He is, though, by far the best... Well, Dominic Prisborg could also stabilize the country a little bit. Do we have any... Duke Władysław... God, he sucks. What is he a member of? The Schlachta. Of course he is. What would it cost us... We can't hire somebody? Interesting. Okay, well... He's kind-hearted, he's an obsessive perfectionist, and he's a charismatic negotiator. He's also a member of the estate crown, so we will let Duke Władysław III will come in. He's the hunchback Piast, but he will come in. Or he is stabilizing the country. I'll go to Kaliz and try to improve control. The army will return to Krakow. I do feel like now that the Civil War is over, we have all of our pops back. It'll be interesting once we get into February what that means, one, for the score with our ally or our union member of Halich, and then also in terms of being able to, you know, fill our working needs in terms of the pops we have. Obviously, our income should go up a little bit as we now have a full nation again. But yeah, the Peasant King has had a lot of upheaval in his time. We do have just 149 manpower. We are going to try to spread our institutions and see what we can do to maybe gain more technologies so we can possibly increase our manpower and, build more buildings there. We're also going to take a better look at, what are our religious buildings, our noble buildings, rather than just the economic buildings, as to see what bonuses we might be able to get from that. So we did survive the Greater Polish Uprising. Didn't get as much money as I thought it would, just 7.72. But I mean, again, it's better than what I thought. Than what it was initially. 911,000 people now. We do have 2 rebel movements. Wayward Weather. Weather front is East Pomerania coast. It is local food productions plus 25, attrition plus 2. What is this? Torrential rain. Okay. We're missing 893 burgers, and we're missing 5,735 RGO workers. And we are up to 8.24 ducats monthly. So we survived a rebellion. We are up to 36 nationally now, so we no longer have to worry about Holland becoming a senior partner, although they are being occupied by Lithuania, which is interesting that they're able to occupy them while we're in a union. Because I would have thought that we would have been called in as union members, but apparently not, and that's okay. But I do think that's where we're going to wrap up today's episode. We might get into March. We do have 29 on our war score against the Teutonic Order, so we might be able to come in here and take what is this? Tuchelo? Because we obviously don't. Danzig we do want to take, but that's not where we want to go right away. Take a quick look here in terms of goods. Yeah, we're not books. Yeah, books we really need more of. Gemstones we need some. What is this? Incense we need. Sugar? Pearls. Fruit. Gold, okay, we need a little bit more of. The King of Bohemia has been excommunicated. Well, that's interesting. Who is the current King of Bohemia? Karl Lusabursko. Alrighty. Well, that's interesting. But thank you everybody for watching. It is March of 3052. We will try to play, 2 to 3 years again like we do most episodes, but since we had the Civil War, it's a little bit of a more interesting episode. But thank you everybody for watching. Hope you're all doing well. Stay safe, take care, and I'll talk to you all later.